Yo,
You.
still not going to get used to that.
No, it's weird. It says the
Yeah,
Gemini's taking notes too.
yeah. I do enjoy that part. It's it kind of summarizes our
Oh,
yeah. So next time, in fact, I should send it to you. So check it out. It's pretty cool. It gives you a nice rundown, and when we do our regular pod, we tend to jump around, and so it chunks it in nice paragraphs. So.
all right.
But now we're here. We're doing a Jelts for everyone. But this is an episode that you and I have done for many years now. Fly Eagles fly, right, man? Like we got to talk our birds and give our predictions on the season.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's got to happen. Um, thank God football's back. I'm so tired of just no football. Or let's just put it straight. I need football.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Growing up, man, I was much more of a baseball fan of all the major sports than I was anything else. And then I hit probably, oh, I don't know, maybe early high school, and I started really following football more than I always followed it. I was big, obviously Randall Cunningham and Reggie White and all those guys. I was a huge fan of them, but I was not really huge into football itself overall. And then as time's gone on, I'm just like you, like I can't wait. I love watching football all day Sunday. I love the fact that we get games on Thursday. And then we have some random stuff here and there throughout the season. It's man, and I can watch anything. It doesn't have to be the birds. I try to stay away from Cowboys games, but
well, yeah. I mean, you try to stay away from Cowboys games. Well, you try to stay away from gonorrhea too.
yeah, exactly, right. But no, man, dude. I love the season, and look, we've talked about this, and we'll eventually get going with another one, fantasy football stuff that we've discussed over the years, and that gives you a whole nother layer to it. And it's just it's fun. It football is just a fun sport, high impact, always something going on, and that's the reason why it's the most popular sport in our country. I mean, without question. I mean,
yeah.
so. But no, we do this episode. We do week by week. We kind of give our predictions, and I don't know. Let's go. So you want to go week one? We're playing the Commanders at home.
Yeah, let's go. So I have this. I have it as a win. I think the offense is going to look. I think the running game is going to be out in front to start. I think it's going to be ahead of the passing game, just based on the fact that we've got the new offensive coordinator, and I think that it's going to take a little bit still for the passing game to come around. I think Saquon carries the offense in this one, and the defense really slams the door.
I like it. I was going to ask you, kind of overall, your impressions of. Let's not say Saquon had a down year, because 2 years ago he was just, out of his mind. So it's so hard to go from that to what he did last year and compare and say, look, you're running through with MVP numbers, and then you're going to regress back to the mean. But I think you're right, that he comes out. The running game is going to be front and center on this as well. I've got the Eagles by a touchdown or up to 10 on this one. So 1-0 eat birds coming out of week one. But I think I agree with you completely. I think the run game is front and center.
All right, week 2, Tennessee.
Yeah, at Tennessee. So what do you say?
I've got another win. The passing game starts to look better this game. Saquon's still the focal point of the offense. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, the defense gets to the quarterback early and often. And I think they take out the Titans, start off 2-0.
Yeah, I've got this one birds by 14 or 14 plus. It's not going to be close. 2-0. This is one game I actually almost asked you about, because it's kind of. I mean, I'm a couple hours from Nashville. I tried looking up tickets and they were insane. I'm not. And everyone I've talked to, they're like, yeah, it's really high. And they're still in building their new stadium, so they're still at Nissan. It's smaller, and Nashville is just crazy expensive. So it is what it is. But yeah, 2-0 Birds. I don't see that being a problem. The week 3 though, they travel up to Chicago, and I'm going to hear your take on this one.
All right, so Monday Night Football in Chicago. The Eagles are looking for revenge after a horrific game last year on Black Friday. Unfortunately, they don't get revenge. It's a lot closer than that one, but the Bears stymie the run game. The passing game can't get them over the hump. And I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, a defensive struggle, and I think that, unfortunately, the Bears win this game.
It's funny. When we do this, I have the Bears by a field goal or a touchdown on this one. I do. I think same thing. I think it's going to be low scoring. I've got to give props where props are due. And I think Caleb Williams is a incredible young quarterback in this league. And I think he's going to have many good years ahead of him. I might not have been so kind with him on previous recordings up to about last season, mainly because of stuff out of college, involving his father and hearing different stories about things. And it's like, I didn't know where he was going to land, but man, he is turned into, he's MVP caliber player, in my opinion. I think he has that in him. Now, again, any young player is going to make dumb decisions. It happens. And I think you saw that last year with him. I think you're going to see less of that this year. And yeah, he'll. I'm not going to say he's going to run roughshod over the Birds, but close, low scoring game. I've got the Eagles losing. So 2-1 right now for me, and I believe you're the same.
Yes.
Week 4 back at home against the Rams, and man, the Rams are just a juggernaut right now, and they got better.
Yeah.
Whenever you get the defensive player of the year, Mr. 22 or however many sacks Myles Garrett had.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough one. The Rams finally pull one out on the Eagles. It's very close. The passing game looks better. Saquon has a big game, but it's just not enough. Defense gets to Stafford a few times, but it's just, the Rams are a really strong team this year, and the Eagles are still figuring out their offense at this point. So I'm not willing now. If this game took place, and the same with the Chicago game, these games took place at the end of the season, I think we're looking at a different outcome.
Yep.
But this early in the season, with the offense still figuring things out and getting their sea legs, so to speak, I think that the Rams pull this one out and it drops the Eagles to 2-2.
I agree completely. I love that sentiment. Again, passing game this year is without AJ Brown. He's now a Patriot. So we're dealing a lot of heavy lifting from Devontae Smith. We've got the rookie Lemon. You've got some other things going on that are different this year. So I think you're right. Offense is going to have to find its legs in the first few weeks of the season. I've got the Rams by a touchdown or 10 on this one. So 2-2. As much as I hate to say it, I mean that's kind of where I'm at. The first 4 weeks is split.
Yeah.
And I feel pretty confident in that. And this is one of the few times I'll say this during any of these things that we ever do and have done, is that usually it's like, I can waver and say, oh yeah, they're 4-0, or I don't really feel that way this time. I don't feel like there's much wavering these first 4 weeks based on the schedule. To me, I don't know what about you. What's your take on that?
No, I mean, I'm with both of the losses that I have them having. They're both close. And it could go either way. I'm leaning towards, maybe I'm being a little bit pessimistic, but I just think that the teams that they should beat, they're going to beat. The teams that are going to put up a struggle, that are like really, that are your top of the charts, are going to give them a little bit of trouble in the beginning of the season. And I feel like that's where they're going to have issues.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, if these games took place at the end of the season, I think it's a different story. I think the Eagles, not to spoil anything going forward, but I think the Eagles figure it out.
Yeah. No, I like it because I'm with you. So we'll get there. I'm excited to talk about this one though. This is a fun one for me The Eagles get to go to jolly old England. Week 5.
I hate these games.
I know I don't like them either, but I like them because it reminds me of watching anytime they've had a wrestling pay-per-view overseas and they have like the Monday night show or Monday Night Raw, whatever, afterward. That crowd is fun. And they're fun during the NFL games. And England's always been, super supportive of anything that we do. Seems to be NFL wise with fun crowds. I don't like these games either for the sake of it's going to be weird and the traveling and all that. But I think it's fun nonetheless.
Yeah, let me correct my statement. It's fun when other people do it, but I don't like when
people on your own team. No, I get it.
Let's be real. I don't feel like getting up at 9:30 in the morning to watch a football game.
Dude, same. And for me, it's an hour. It's an hour. I'm an hour behind, so it's 8:30 for me.
Oh,
dude,
I'm sorry. Like,
and it's on a Sunday. I'm like, no, I'm sleeping.
Yeah, that just sucks.
I do have the Eagles on this one to win. I have them by 7 to 10. Again, this is one for me. That's the right reason why I made that comment. The first 4 weeks, I can't really waver on, even though I had a couple close ones in there like you did. I don't really know, even though because it's the London game. I'm taking the Eagles to win because that's what my heart says.
Mm-hmm.
But this to me is my waiver game because I don't know because it is in England.
Right. Well, this one I have the Eagles going over. The offense figures it out this game. The offense has, with the pressure off from not being in Philly and not being, stateside, they're just able to just let it go. The offense flows. They win the game. And not only that, Quinyon Mitchell gets his first regular season interception.
Oh, I
like that in that one.
Nice. I like that. Okay, week 6. What do we got?
Versus Carolina in Philly. I think, Carolina had a promising season last year, but I think this season they're going to play that tougher schedule. I think the Eagles hammer them. I think, the Eagles are a superior opponent. The Eagles win. The offense starts off a little bit slow just based on the hangover from playing in England.
Mm-hmm.
But by the second half, Tanner McKee or Cole Payton is in, and and it's a wrap.
I'm with you on this. I've got the Birds by 14 plus. I think Bryce Young had a great kind of bounce back season, and it showed promise there. I don't know that Carolina can put it all back together. They kind of had a nice little run there last year, but I think they regress. I just don't see them being a powerhouse in the NFC. They may have a little bit of waiver in their own division, but I just don't see them being a problem for the Birds. So right now 4-2 for me through week 6. Week 7 is our first game against the Cowboys. This is at home for us. And
Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Monday Night Football. I think the Eagles, to me, dominate the Cowboys more so than they dominated the Panthers. And I speak from the heart on this one a lot because of my disdain for Dallas, but I really do. I think the Eagles, like you said, really figure it out. And now they start really turning it up even one more, especially being under the lights Monday night. This is a 17 plus for me. Yeah. I know that's crazy to say, but I just don't see. I mean, I could see the Cowboys running up some points, but the Eagles are gonna. This is gonna be one of those like the Eagles are gonna be in the 40s or 50s by the time it's all said and done to like a 20, in that range. So I'm 5-2 after week 7. What about you on this one?
Yeah. I mean, I've got the first line I've got on my little synopsis is we're going streaking. So it's 5-2, or I have the Eagles winning. I've got Dallas comes down after a big win over the Panthers and becomes just another victim of this defense.
Nice.
Saquon thrives in the spotlight. Jalen has the best game he's had against Dallas in his career.
Love it.
And I think we just demolish them.
Love it. Yeah, I do too. I know there's a lot, and I'll give credit where credit's due. Dak is a stat machine. I'll give him that all day long. He's not a winner. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes.
Week 8, where are we at?
Sunday Night Football at Washington in that dilapidated stadium that's falling apart. And much like their stadium, Washington just doesn't have it. Eagles roll to their second consecutive NFC East and primetime game. We are 6-2.
Yeah, same. I do have the Eagles a little bit less on this one than I did on week 1. I still have them by at least a field goal or a touchdown. 6-2. They'll sweep the season series against Washington. Week 9, we move on to the Giants. And dude, don't get me wrong, I absolutely am a huge fan of Jackson Dart and good old crown eater himself, Mr. Scattaboo. I just love him, even though they're Giants. I think the world of those guys because I think they're fun players to have in this league, especially in our division. Unfortunately for them, the fact I don't really think that either of them will be on the field by week 9. So
yeah, I'm the opposite. I can't stand either of those fuckers. I hate them both. They're jackasses. I have
maybe that's why I
Eagles,
enjoy them because you know me, I was a big Barry Bonds fan, and
yeah, you tend to like the bad guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I've got the Eagles continue to roll and take down the Crayon Eaters. I mean Giants. And I had that. That's literally on here. So not that's not just me riffing off of what you said. And it isn't easy. The Giants put up more of a fight than the Commanders will, but it's a win nonetheless.
Yeah, well, and I'm playing this one off like there's like no one left on the field for the Giants at this point because everyone's hurt from running through walls. Eagles by 14 plus, so
nice.
7-2.
Wow. Yeah, we both have them going 7-2 into the bye.
It's a bye week. Yeah, man. I figured we'd be on the same page. And after we're done our going back and forth here through the season, I've got a couple of other thoughts and things some tools I ran. We'll talk about it. But so yeah, 7-2 into the bye week. What's before we get into week 11? What do you think? Bye week on this one for the Birds is almost dead in the center. So, what's your take? Do you think this is a good bye week for them?
Yeah, I think it's a good bye week. I think it breaks things up nicely. It'll allow the offensive line to take a week off. Because that's really their main issue is the health of the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
So this will give them a chance to stay healthy and kind of have that mid-season break. So I'm very happy with where the bye week is this year.
And I'm also happy too because in week 9 you're at home, the bye week's on 10, and then you're still at home against the Steelers in week 11. So I'm a fan of that. I like that.
Yeah,
so setup is nice. Steelers, I don't have much for at this point. I don't know about you. I've got the Eagles by 10 or 14 on this one.
I've got the Eagles winning. The Steelers haven't won in Philly since 1965, and they're going to win this one.
I didn't realize it was that long.
That's a true stat.
I knew it was a while, but I didn't realize it was back to the 60s.
Yeah, I think Drew Allard will be their starting quarterback over an injured or ineffective Aaron Rodgers at this point, and we're going to roll to our 8th win of the season.
Yeah, and look, let's be honest here. I'm shocked that Ron is coming back. There's no way he stays healthy throughout this whole season. Absolutely no way. No. So yeah, they're going to have somebody different under center, whether it's who'd you say, Allard?
Yeah, I think Drew Allard that's the guy they drafted this year. I think he's going to be their backup.
Yeah, you're probably spot on with that. I mean, I've got nothing for them. 8-2 Birds after week 11, but week 12 we play against the Cowboys, but we're going to Dallas on this one. So
yeah, we're going to Dallas on Thanksgiving. And I hate to say it, but the Eagles do have a way of ruining Thanksgiving for us. I feel like every game that they've played on Thanksgiving, they've kind of laid an egg, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this one will go down to the wire, but the Eagles or the Cowboys will snap the Eagles' winning streak, and I have it said falling to 8-3.
So this one, it's funny. Funny you have the 8-3. I have a note here that I have at Dallas, and my note just says Eagles by 3. I think this is a close game. It's nowhere near like the blowout at home, but I think they pull it out. I think there's a little turkey leg magic, and we win by field goal, and we're 9-2. So this is our first discrepancy. We got to week 12, man. That's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. And we didn't talk about this.
No, we didn't. We need to preface that. I think we say it all the time. We do not talk about this at all. Like, right. I know that sounds like funny to say, like, oh, you guys text and whatever all the time. No, we really don't talk about this.
Yeah, we text and everything, but we don't text about this. We keep separate.
No, yeah. Okay, so you're 8-3. I'm 9-2. Week 13, you go to Arizona. So what's your take now? Arizona's got a little bit of some different moving parts now that old Mr. Murray is now up in Minnesota. So they've got some different things going on. The Carson Beck, I believe, is under center, and we still have some weapons. Yeah, well, hey man, I got to give Jacoby some props, man. He won me a lot of money last year. So yeah, what's your take on week 13? We're at the Cardinals.
I have a win for the Eagles. I have us going to 9-3. Arizona's got nothing. They get smeared across the desert unless their grounds crew ruins the field again, but we'll still beat them.
Yeah, I've got the Birds by at least 10 on this one. So I've got them at 10-2. Yeah, I don't know, man. I like the fact that Kyler Murray's finally out of there. I never really had much for him in the first place. Good luck in Minnesota, but that's going to be a disaster. But neither here nor there. The Eagles don't play the Vikings in the regular season. So, but yeah, no, I don't have much right now to see where Arizona's at. I think they have enough weapons that are young that they can make some waves, just not against the Eagles.
Right.
So
spoiler alert, the Eagles won't be playing the Vikings in the playoffs either.
Exactly. I almost said that too. 14. What we doing here?
We are playing Indianapolis at home. Last year, Indy caught lightning in a bottle until Daniel Jones got hurt. And then, what's his name? Who's their running back?
Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. Jonathan Taylor fell off a cliff. Thanks, Jonathan Taylor. He ruined my fantasy team.
He ruined a lot of fantasy teams.
But by this time of the season, he's normally banged up anyway. I think the team comes into Philly banged up as a whole, and the Eagles are going to pounce on them. I have it as a win and going to 10-3.
Yeah, so I have them at 11-2, Eagles by 14 plus on this one. Yeah, the Colts were exactly lightning in a bottle. They gave a lot of money to Daniel Jones too.
Yeah, they did.
So it's interesting to see. I did enjoy seeing the fact that he was able to bounce back because he had such a horrid run in New York. So it's nice to always see that, regardless of your disdain for somebody. I think it's a good story. But yeah, he got banged up, and then the Colts ended up. They had to pick off a guy that hadn't played in the NFL in quite some time to finish their season. So, which was interesting. But yeah, different spot now. But Birds at this point to me are 11-2. You have them at 10-3. We go week 15 at home against the Seahawks. I've got the Seahawks winning by a touchdown or more. I don't know at this point that I almost think that Seattle could take it by 2 touchdowns or more. I think this is a week where it's like transitional because, you kind of had the Cardinals and the Colts, I can't say they're jokes. No team in the NFL is a joke, I guess, except Cleveland. But you had kind of easy wins to me. And then Seattle, you're talking about, I don't know, you're defending champs that still have a absolutely stacked roster. Seattle's a good team.
Yeah.
So 11-3 for me right now after week 15.
So I have us at 10-4. I have us losing this game also. But here's the thing. I don't think the Seahawks are a better team. Like I don't think they're a better team than us. They just seem to be one of those teams that has our number, kind of
Mhm.
like how Atlanta does.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. I agree.
And so I have us losing, but again, I really don't think that they're better than us. It's just they always seem to beat us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And it sucks because this is a home game, and this
Right.
should be an easy win. And I hope to God it is. Look, you know, before we get into the last 3 weeks here, look, we're such Eagles fans. We want this to be an undefeated season. But what fan of their team doesn't want this to be an undefeated season? We're trying to be realistic here as best we can. We still, I think you and I maybe play a little bit of our hearts into this, but we've done pretty good in past years of calling this stuff. So,
Right.
week 16, they're still at home. They play the Texans, who are another playoff team from last year, and CJ Stroud really kind of turned the corner again. And it's funny, he's got a lot of different weapons to throw to. It's the fact that if any of them are going to stay healthy,
Right.
that's an issue. And then Texans have a great defense. I really do enjoy the work they put together down there. But the Eagles are going to win. To me, it's just going to be maybe by a touchdown, 7-10 type thing. At this point, through week 16, I have the Birds at 12-3. So, what's your take on the Texans game?
So that's actually the first line that I have in my synopsis for this one is Houston has a great defense. The offense, on the other hand, I think you hit the nail on the head. They can't stay healthy. And I think the Eagles defense helps win this game. I think that they win the turnover battle and give the offense multiple chances with a short field, and that helps the Eagles win the game. And I have them at 11-4 at this point after Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, so I mean, look, we're right now our only difference is a game, so that's pretty cool. Then we have 2 games left to talk about. Week 17, we go all the way across the country to San Francisco, which again is another good team. Now there's been some changes. Debo's back, and you've got still have McCaffrey there, and you still got Purdy under center, and their defense is still pretty stout. I mean, you still have some things going there, especially what's his face is isn't Salah still out there as DC? Or he?
No, Salah's the head coach in
That's right.
Tennessee now.
That's right. You're right. I'm sorry. I totally forgot that. But he kind of turned it around last season for them defensively. So I think a lot of that carries over. Eagles win to me, but it's close. I have this by a field goal. Again, this is to me kind of like the London game. This is one of the few times in the whole season where I kind of could go either way. But my heart is telling me Birds. So 13-3 at this point.
I have us winning on Sunday Night Football, 12-4. And all I wrote for this one was because fuck San Fran. That's why.
I like it. And to me at this point, like I have them at 13-3. Week 18 is a rest week because they've already won the division. I don't know, if they're fighting for, a playoff, not playoff spot, but you know what I mean? As far as your standings in the playoffs, if you're going to be a 1 or a 2, I don't know where they're at, but this is the first and only time on my call, on my list. They go to New York, they play the Giants, they go to North Jersey and play the Giants. But all my other games, I had it, Eagles by 3 or Eagles by 14 plus or whatever. I just put Eagles. And because I don't know, like, are they going to have any starters playing? Like, 14-3, but I don't know this. You know what I mean? Like, who knows on this one?
So this one I have as a toss-up. It's going to depend on the circumstances. I have, if we've wrapped up the division and we're playing for the number 1 seed, then then we're going to play, we're going to win. We'll finish 13-4. But if there's nothing to play for and we're just throwing backups out there, we could probably lose it, be 12-5, and it is what it is. But overall, I have us I have us at that 13-4, 12-5, and I feel really good about that. I feel really good about the team going into the playoffs. And this is all assuming that there's no major injuries or anything, obviously. But
Right.
I feel like if this team stays healthy and plays up to its potential, another Super Bowl is not out of the question.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I'm the same way. I've got 14-3 is my final, but the last week I can waiver, so 13-4. So look, again, we don't discuss this. We just kind of put together our own things. But I told you that I ran this through some AI stuff, some tools. So I was I'm not gonna run down and go week to week by any stretch, because no one wants to hear that. They can run it themselves and figure that out and see what kind of results they get. But I did want to run over what the final projections were as far as record by tool, and then I'll also tell you what they picked the Super Bowl champs. Of course, we want the birds. This is why we don't really talk about the playoffs aspect of it, because by the time they're there, and we hope they're in the playoffs, we want them to win the whole thing.
Right.
So why are we bothering? You know what I mean? Like,
right. And plus, look, let's be real. We're not going to go through everybody's schedule and figure out who's going to beat who's going to be in the playoffs, who's going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
without
having the seeding and everything.
Yeah. We don't know. And so, okay, I ran this through Gemini. Gemini gave me 13-4. And it had some interesting notes. Said the schedule features some massive tests, including a London trip, a Thanksgiving clash in Dallas, and a grueling week 16 and 17, which makes sense because they're Texans and 49ers. So it's interesting. They actually gave you a pretty 13-4, but they call. My second question I asked was, okay, who wins the Super Bowl? And so they said the Rams. But the funny thing is, this is the funniest one to me, is they actually, when I asked that, they said the Seahawks, because they thought that I asked for the previous season. But the real laugher after I said that was they said the Rams, but they said their dark horse pick was the Cowboys.
Ew. All right. Well, Gemini sucks.
Yeah. So I ran through ChatGPT, and it gave me 12-5. Didn't really give me too many notes, just kind of ran through week to week what it did. Interestingly enough, though, they did also call losses at Chicago and at Seattle, and they actually called a loss at Dallas Thanksgiving. Isn't that interesting?
That is pretty interesting.
Yeah. So they have it 12-5. But then I just asked the same thing. Rams Super Bowl champs. So then I did Grok, and so I asked that same deal, and they gave me the birds at 13-4. But this was funny, and this is what I love about sometimes with AI, because I actually took and I ran a summary of all my picks, and then Gemini, ChatGPT, and Grok. And initially Grok said so 13-4 is what they projected, but it said Grok's game picks initially it showed at 11-6. But when I ran it through Gemini to summarize it for me, they're like, no, it's 13-4. I'm like, okay. But here's a cool thing. So I ran myself, like I said, on these 3 AI tools all through, and the Gemini, and it gave me some key takeaways. And I thought this was super interesting. So all 4 sources, this is including myself, agreed that the Eagles will sweep the Giants, beat Tennessee, Carolina, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Arizona, Indianapolis, and win their home games against Washington and Dallas. So me and 3 AI tools all picked the same thing, and I believe you did as well.
Yeah.
On all that. So the other thing that I thought was interesting that it brought up was they have 3 different things in here they call the trap. And it says week 12, the Dallas Thanksgiving game. It said all 3 AIs projected a loss, and I actually projected the road victory. I projected the home win, but the road, and I also projected the road victory as well, but AI did not. At week 17 at the 49ers, Gemini, ChatGPT, and Grok all said a loss. I said a win because I said close. And then week 15 on Seattle was me, ChatGPT, me, ChatGPT, and Grok all said Seattle winning against the Birds. So it was interesting. It was like really cool that I picked mine first, and then I ran it through. Not my picks. I just asked it a question. I sent these AI tools a link of the Eagle schedule and basically said, give me a week to week. What do you think? And a final, tally, kind of like you and I just did. And I thought it was really funny to me that basically AI thought what you and I think. When I tried this last year, these results were not great because they were all over the place. They were running stuff from the previous season. They were talking about players that weren't on the team anymore. This was a lot more succinct. So it's getting more fine-tuned. And I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, except the fact they picked the Rams.
Right. Well, I mean, we got to talk to them about the, their Super Bowl picks. But aside from that, I think that they're,
But now that we've gone through the schedule, let's just kind of, button this one up with any takes on players that stand out to you. Or I know you had mentioned to me before we started recording about a tight end situation that kind of on top of your head.
I think we need to bring maybe Zach Ertz or somebody else to because Eli Stowers I don't think is gonna make any kind of impact this year, and he's starting off the season hurt. He'll probably go on IR to start the season. So I think we need, especially if we're going to be running a lot of 12 and we're going to be running a lot of like heavy packages, we're going to need that. And with two tight ends, we're going to need another tight end to play alongside of Dallas Goedert, because I don't think Johnny Munt is a viable pass catching option.
Right.
So you got to get somebody else in there that can catch the ball. Aside from that, I think this is Devontae Smith's coming out party.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's gonna turn some heads. People that didn't think that he was as good as he is. The dude was a Heisman Trophy winner for a reason.
Yes.
And I think he's going to do real well. I think Jalen is going to show people. I mean, not that people will believe it anyway, because for some reason people just don't think Jalen's a good quarterback, and I do not understand that whatsoever. The guy's a Super Bowl MVP. He should have been if they would have won the game against the Chiefs the first time, he'd have been the MVP in that one. I don't know what else he has to do. He's a winner. I don't know what else he has to do in this league to prove to people that he is a winner and that he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I think this year he's going to hopefully shut some people's mouths.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm with you, man. I was a big Jalen fan really early on. If you go back in our archives and listen to probably our first time we ran a preview episode like this, I was all about him, man, and I've been a Jalen fan since day one. He's a winner. He may not be the sexiest stats guy. He may not have the Josh Allen or those types of numbers or whoever throw in there, but the guy's a winner. I mean, and that look, we talk about intangible qualities that you can't just measure on paper with sports a lot, and I mean, he's got all of them, and he's just I love it, man. I love the fact that he's our quarterback, and I want to talk real quick though, and we talked about him, earlier here when we were going week to week at the beginning of that with Saquon, and look, 2 years ago, 2,000 yarder, just like I said, he was playing out of his mind. He was ridiculous, and he was averaging almost 6 yards an attempt. Last year, again, he fell back to his mean. Basically, he still had over 1,100 yards, and he was back to about 4 yards a carry. And here's the funny thing, and I think a lot of people were kind of soured on him because, well, he slipped back a little bit. If you look at him from, I guess, a fantasy perspective, like, oh man, I kind of soured my team because of where I drafted him at. the guy is a career 4.5 yard an attempt guy anyway. So he fell right back to where he's normally at and still had a great season. It wasn't that 24, like, oh my gosh, like, Eric Dickerson like numbers. That's not sustainable in today's game. So I think he's got another solid 1,000-yard season ahead of him. I think he goes back a little bit more than what he did last year, but I think they're going to rest him some more too. He had 65 less rushing attempts from 25 to 24 and played the same amount of games. So, I think you see different guys getting touches, and we still have Bigsby and Shipley, correct? I mean, we still have some other weapons that aren't named Saquon. So
what I think you're going to see from him is he's going to be more involved in the passing game this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're going to see combined yardage somewhere around 14 to 15,000 yards or 100.
Yeah. I was like, all right, man, let's go. Hey, that's breaking news. Breaking news. If you have not done your fantasy draft, you better get Saquon number 1 because he will win if he gets a 15,000-yard season. He will win your league.
14 to 1,500 yards combined, maybe even a little bit more. And I think what you're going to see, though, is they're going to be working Tank Bigsby and more.
Yeah.
And so it's going to help Saquon stay fresh, and it's going to help the offense, with that varying look. And I think it's only going to do good things.
Yeah, it's weird. His stat line through his career is very strange with receiving. His last 3 years are almost identical. 41, and this is last year with New York, was 23. 41 catches, 280 yards. 24, 33 catches, 278. And last year, 37 catches, 273. When he broke into the league as a rookie, man, he nearly caught 100 passes. He's certainly capable of it. Caught 91 balls in his rookie season. So it's not like, he's not capable of it. I think, I believe you're correct in that assessment where he's going to go maybe up to maybe a 40, 50 reception guy this year. I think there's more involvement that way. And I think he needs to be. I do think his touches are going to probably same or less, assuming his health is the same. I don't know that he's going to ever get to those 24 numbers again. Running backs have a short shelf life in the NFL. So, I'm all about, him having not a bounce back, just better than last year.
Right.
Any other players? What about rookies for you? Is there anyone that kind of says, hey, I don't know. I know you talked about Stowers, but anyone else that is like, I don't know, you're kind of sour on, or you're like, hey, this guy's going to just gangbusters from the start?
I think not a rookie, but Dontavian Wicks, I think, is going to open some eyes. As far as rookies, you're going to see Mekhi Lemon is going to show a flash. I don't think he's not going to have a 1,000-yard season, I don't think, because there's so many weapons.
Right.
But on the defensive side of the ball, I think Joshua Weru, who's from the international program, is going to make a couple plays this year, and some big plays. And people are going to be like, whoa, where the heck did the Eagles get him from? And it's from the International Pathways program. And that's going to cause a problem for the Eagles, though, because you've got Uar Bernard, and you've got, you can only use your exemption on one player, and you've got Bernard, and you've got Weru.
Right.
You've got to figure out where they're going to go with that, because you don't want to expose either of the waivers. You don't want to try and slide either of them to the practice squad. So I think maybe Bernard might have some kind of weird soft tissue injury that puts him on the
IR. Hey, you're stubbing your toe, bud.
Yeah. Hey, step in that rut right there.
Yeah. We're just gonna kindly just kind of hit your knee real quick.
Yeah.
No. I think this is a great, solid season for them. We do have some, guys that they're aging up. The line is a question mark. I don't think it's a huge question mark. I just think it's health.
Right.
And we saw that last year. So, I think that's going to be kind of at the top of everyone's minds. But I don't know that it's going to be as dire as what what
It'll be
people say.
better than it was last year because Markel Bell coming in from Miami, from the University of Miami, not from the Dolphins, backing up Lane Johnson, I think
Yeah.
is that's a huge step up from Fred Johnson last year.
Yes.
And I think that's going to help out a lot having him in case Lane goes down. Hopefully Lane doesn't go down. Hopefully everybody stays healthy all season, knock some wood there. But, we have people in place to, especially on the offensive line now that we didn't have last year, like Willie Lampkin, who we had last year, but he wasn't playing the way he is this year. And just some other players that we have along the offensive line. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. on the defense looks outstanding. Looks like he could step in if there's any kind of injuries to the linebacking core. He could step in and do things. The one area that I'm concerned about that we addressed, but there's an injury, is edge, and that's with Jonathan Grenard being out. Hopefully he makes it back soon and can make an impact, but I am kind of worried about that position.
Yeah. Last question. Just curious. Do you think old BG turns back one more time?
He said if he wasn't in training camp, if he wasn't there at the start of training camp, he wasn't going to play. So I'm going to take him at his word and say no, BG's done. But it's kind of like wrestling where you never say never.
I like it. Well, fly Eagles fly, and
go Birds, dickhead.